All right, let's get right into it. We've all gotten used to AI chatbots, but the next big wave is already here: AI agents. Now, these are AIs that don't just talk to you, they actually do things. But for an AI to act in our digital world, it has to be able to communicate with all the apps and tools we use. So, today we're going to dig into something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, which is basically a brand new language designed to let AI have a real, meaningful conversation with the rest of the digital world. So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get a clear picture of what these AI agents are. Then, we'll look at why our current ways of connecting software just aren't cutting it anymore. After that, we'll introduce MCP as the solution, see exactly how it structures a conversation. And finally, we'll zoom out and think about what this all means for a future where we talk to our technology instead of just programming it. For a long time, talking to an AI has been pretty passive. You ask a question, you get an answer. Simple. But we are now moving into the era of AI agents. These are systems that can use tools all by themselves, pull data from different places, and handle really complex tasks. That's what people mean by agentic AI. It's not just a walking encyclopedia. It's an active partner that could say, book your flights, shuffle your calendar, and handle all the logistics without you lifting a finger. Okay, but here is the massive roadblock. For an AI agent to do any of that cool stuff, it has to talk to other software. And the APIs, the digital messengers that apps have used for decades to talk to each other. They were never ever built for something as creative and unpredictable as an AI. Trying to make them work for this is like trying to have a deep philosophical debate using only a handful of yes or no flashcards. It's just not going to work. So the most common way apps talk to each other is called REST. And the one word you really got to latch onto here is stateless. What that means is every single request is treated like a brand new conversation. The server has absolutely zero memory of what you asked it just a few seconds ago. It's kind of like calling a customer service agent, getting your answer, hanging up, and then having to call back and explain your entire life story from the very beginning every single time. It's not efficient. Now, there is a more modern approach called gRPC, and it's a definite improvement. It's stateful, which means it can keep a connection open for a continuous back and forth conversation. Think of it more like keeping a phone line open instead of sending a bunch of separate text messages. But even with that big step forward, it still doesn't have the special language or the dynamic on-the-fly abilities that a true AI agent really needs. So why do both of these old methods ultimately miss the mark for AI? Well, it really boils down to three big problems. First, neither of them was built with a standardized AI-style conversation in mind. Second, they're static. The AI has to read a thick, fixed instruction manual ahead of time to know what a tool can do. It can't just ask, hey, what are you capable of right now? And third, they speak in generic data formats. It's not a rich language an AI can really understand and reason about. And this is exactly where the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, comes into the picture. This isn't just a small update or another API style. It's a totally new way for software to communicate, designed from the ground up for the unique conversational needs of AI agents. And this right here is the absolute key idea. Giving an AI agent a traditional API is like handing it a dictionary. Yeah, sure, it has all the words, but it doesn't have any grammar or context or any of the rules you need to actually form a meaningful sentence, let alone have a dialogue. MCP is designed to be that language. And when you put them all side by side, the difference is just, well, it's huge. Where REST and gRPC are static and rigid, MCP allows for what's called dynamic discovery. The AI can literally ask a tool what it can do in real time, which is a game changer. And while the others use generic data, MCP uses a purpose built vocabulary with words like tools, resources, and prompts, things an AI is built to understand. Now, under the hood, MCP is built on a simple and really proven foundation called JSON-RPC 2.0. The easiest way to think about it is like a universal postal service for AI communication. It's just a lightweight set of rules that make sure every single message or envelope is addressed and formatted in the exact same way. That way, the AI and the tool can always understand each other. No confusion. So, we've got the standard envelope. Now, let's look at how MCP actually uses it to build a full, reliable conversation. Because a good language isn't just about having the right words, it's also about having rules for etiquette. A proper way to start, conduct, and end a discussion. The whole interaction follows this really clear three-part life cycle. It kicks off with initialization, which is basically a formal handshake. The AI and the tool introduce themselves and agree on the rules of engagement. Then comes operation. This is the main event, the actual back and forth conversation where the work gets done. And finally, it all wraps up with shutdown, a polite, clean goodbye to make sure everything is closed out properly. And this quote just nails it. This whole structure provides predictability and trust. It stops the AI from asking a tool to do something it can't, and it makes sure no tasks get left hanging when the conversation is over. It's the framework for a truly reliable dialogue. Of course, that's what happens on a good day. But real world digital conversations, just like human ones, can get, well, they can get messy. Connections can drop, servers get confused, stuff breaks. So, how does MCP handle the chaos? Well, MCP has a really robust plan for this, built right in. If a request fails, the server sends back a standardized error. It has a machine-readable code for the AI to understand and a human-readable message for the developers. And to deal with unresponsive tools, the protocol requires using timeouts. That way, an AI agent never gets stuck just waiting forever for a reply that's never going to come. So let's bring this all home. Why does a new protocol like this matter so much? Because the future of AI isn't just about having slightly smarter chatbots. It's about building truly agentic systems that can actively and intelligently engage with the digital world for us. You're shifting from a world where we have to program our computers to one where we can just prompt them. So the crucial takeaway is this: MCP provides the missing foundation. It's a stateful protocol that's actually built for conversation. It lets AI discover what's possible on their own. It gives them a native language they're designed to understand. And it wraps that whole thing in an error-proof structure. This is the bedrock we need for the next generation of AI. And that leaves us with a really fascinating final thought. For decades, we have painstakingly built rigid, brittle code. With a language like MCP, we are finally moving toward a future where we might just be able to have a conversation with them instead. So the question is no longer if AI will be able to talk to the digital world, but what incredible new things we'll build when they finally can.